Hello, this is Ashley Craig discussing artificial intelligence and instructional design. As a disclaimer, I want to let you know that I intentionally used AI for portions of this assignment for the sake of both testing out how it works and to have a little fun with the subject matter. The reality right now, one thing that David Wiley said in his blog post was that the difference between informational and educational resources is that educational ones go a step further to add practice with feedback. At the time of this writing, I feel this is realistically the best statement to define the current state of AI in education. In our reading, we saw mention of intelligent tutoring systems, or ITS, adaptive learning, and predictive analytics. These are monumental developments that are very exciting for pedagogy, but these are, in my opinion, not a reality quite yet. AI for instructional design is still in its infancy. I'm eager to see ITS, adaptive learning, and predictive analytics become commonplace. However, those will more likely come through a pathway of development by educational publishers and developers, and it could be years before implementation takes form at the classroom level. I say this because the reality of education is that a large part of instructional design happens at the lesson planning level. And yes, that is a very much one-sided statement. But the reality is that resources, especially brand new, potentially expensive ones, are sparse when you drill down to the teacher level. Leadership in the education industry, as well as those who report to them, is undeniably fearful of technological development, and it is a serious problem. And that's a blanket statement. Of course, there are people in leadership positions who are pro-tech, but they are few and far between. Where I'm going with this is that I have lofty goals for implementing AI for instructional design in my classroom, but the chance of it being a district, state, or industry level adoption is a long way off. And I don't mean to sound cynical at all. I am incredibly hopeful. Now for the hypothetical. Wow. Look at the revolutionary change AI brings to instructional design. If we can fathom it, AI can help us teach it. Today's technology provides many options for personalized learning, but those are really just predetermined pathways to intervention or extension. With AI, we can move toward what EDUCAUSE labeled generative pathways to truly individualize learning experiences and enable students to take control of their own pace. With predictive analytics, we can begin to incorporate instructional interventions earlier and in ways that better target students' struggles. However, the limitation I see here is that AI lacks insight into the physical student, their effort, their focus, their interest level, their motivation. It can't truly be taken into consideration. Just for fun, I asked Canva to write something for me about the amazing benefits of AI in education. That's the keywords that I typed in. And the text you see here is exactly what it spit out. It's not terrible. I could edit a little bit of it, but, if you, in a pinch, need content generated for you, well, you have options. And if you're an educator, then you are frequently in a pinch for generating content. As a writing teacher, the possibilities for using AI in writing instruction are limitless. Feedback, specific feedback, is critical to effective writing instruction, and it's probably the hardest part of writing instruction. It has to be tailored to the student and to what they have actually written. The reality is that it would be impossible for a teacher to provide effective feedback on every single student's writing. With AI, the teacher can provide that not just to every student, but every single time they write, which is incredible. In terms of the resources that we see out there, I have to admit that once I started exploring the AI for education resources, I was giddy. They're amazing. The possibilities are endless. That makes AI both inspiring and scary, as was emphasized by every author and every resource I looked into. AI cannot be relied upon for finished products. The user must edit and modify to ensure content created by artificial intelligence is accurate and actually moving learners in the correct direction. This means that abuse of AI could potentially result in harm to the learning process. It really depends on who is implementing it. The output is not gospel. And even that basic output depends on the quality and specificity of the initial prompt. So, as an example, you'll see here, I had to chop off the logo to fit this on the page, but using Diffit, I was trying to create examples, and somewhere along the way, I accidentally copy and pasted the Moodle login page URL, and this is the content it gave me. I'm not sure where the ecosystem stuff came from, but it ended up making a really perfect example for why AI is not foolproof. You do need to actually pay attention to what you're doing. Now I'm going to show you a few of my favorites from the lists we looked at and or things that I use in real life. The first one is Magic School, and in my notes I wrote in all capital letters, wow. This site provides AI-generated content that tackles lesson plans, differentiation, professional and or family communication, resources that coordinate with the lesson plan it made for you, assessments, and more. I am dumbfounded by the time-saving opportunities. In the example you see below, I asked its assistant, so Magic School has an assistant named Raina, she's the chat bot, and I asked her, why is AI good for instructional design? And to be perfectly honest, she gave a quite succinct summary of everything we read. Pretty cool. It's really cool. I already texted my whole team a link to Magic School so that we can start using this more. The next one I wanted to show you guys is Diffit. This is a resource I already use on a regular basis to provide scaffolded supports for struggling students. Personally, I use Diffit to level texts, to clarify vocabulary, summarize content in concise bullets, and ask questions to help my lower kids check their own understanding of what they have read. It can also be used to accurately translate any content into another language, and there are many languages to choose from. I did not count how many because there's a lot in the list. In the example you see below, I asked it to give me a 5th grade lesson on the types of conjunctions. And it actually did a pretty good job. I think I'm going to use this with my kids when we do some spiraling review of parts of speech. The next one I want to show you is Canva. And if you are not familiar with Canva, it's a really useful resource even without the perk of AI assistance. I can't recommend it enough. With AI, though, Canva can do some jaw-dropping content creation, including incredibly specific image generation based on keywords, entire presentations to explain a specified topic, and more. It's pretty cool. In the example you see here, I typed in the keywords presentation explaining AI benefits to education, to K through 12 education. And this is the presentation that it spit out for me. I just exported it as an animated GIF. It's not perfect. Would I present this in a professional capacity? Absolutely not. It needs changes. Is this a great starting point for if I were going to create a presentation? Sure. Yeah, I would need to go make a lot of changes to it to make it my own, but it's pretty incredible that it can do that. In a recent professional development session in my district, our digital learning director showed us how it can create images from keywords, and she let us call out random keywords. We ended up coming out with an alien on Mars holding a watermelon and eating pizza, and there was something else in there, and it actually did create multiple different images to choose from with every single one of the details we came up with. And those things are so random. It didn't find them on the internet. What pictures are there of aliens eating watermelons on Mars? But you get the idea. The next one I wanted to show you guys is Quill. Quill.org is my favorite online resource for writing instruction. While the whole site is not AI backed, it has a segment called Reading for Evidence that provides learners with personalized feedback to guide them toward improved text-based writing, specifically text-based writing. And this is a major focus for RLA education today. So the idea is a wonderful foundation. When this feature first launched beta testing, I tried it out, and I actually found it extremely difficult to follow the feedback. What you're seeing here is you can try out any activity at all in Quill as a quote-unquote student and see what it would look like for your kids. When I tried it, I guess, like a year and a half ago, it wasn't great. I pretty much immediately decided I wasn't going to use it. But I tried it again in the midst of this week's research, and the feature has been greatly improved. For any RLA teachers out there, you might want to check it out. And you can see in this example below, I'm actually on the third step of a 4-step activity here. And I intentionally left it kind of vague so that it would give me some feedback. But it does actually give you specific feedback. What I could have done maybe too is actually put in an incorrect completion of the sentence to see what it'd say, but I just emotionally can't attach myself to intentionally giving really, really wrong answers. Thank you for listening tonight. This was super fun exploring all of these things. It was quite a rabbit hole. If you guys, I don't know if y'all did the same as me, but I spent way too much time clicking around through all these different things. So the ones that I showed you were the things that I thought were most applicable to what I do for a living and what I really can use in instructional design for my students. That being said, there's a lot of other ones out there. Also, some that are paid subscriptions that I suspect have more robust functionality than the ones that I've been using that are free. But, I mean, you saw what Canva did. I don't know that I really need a paid resource if all I'm doing is content generation. When we can advance to the point that we're getting into the predictive analytics and true adaptive learning, that's when AI will be an absolute game changer in instructional design. So I'm looking forward to some of the big companies like McGraw-Hill and HMH. I'm looking forward to them starting to incorporate AI in some of their tools, because I think that's where we'll really see the massive impact beyond just adding practice with feedback. Thank you again for listening, and have a great night. Go Tigers!